Hello again. Thanks for stopping by Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode number 81, and it's game 21 of the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Oldtimer Kings of the Hill tournament, which has the 1961 Detroit Tigers traveling to Ebbets Field to take on the current Kings, the 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers. A quick look at the Hill before we get started with the starting lineups. And one of these two teams is going to get their third win. And the winless 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates, they will get a crack at the winner. Hopefully the Pirates will get that first win, or, well, we'll see what happens. But that's where we stand right now. Okay, for the visiting 1961 Detroit Tigers, leading off at second base is Jake Wood. Batting second in center field is Bill Bruton. Batting third in right field is Al Kaline. Batting fourth in left field, Rocky Colavito. Batting fifth at first base, Norm Cash. Batting sixth, third baseman Steve Boros. Batting seventh, catcher Dick Brown. Batting eighth, shortstop Chico Fernandez. And on the mound and batting ninth is Don Mossy. In 1961, he was 15-7 with a 2.96 ERA and 240 innings pitched. He is a number 2 hitting pitcher. And we'll place that card in the lineup for him. All right, for the current Kings of the Hill, the 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers, leading off at second base is Jim Gilliam. Batting second, Billy Cox at third. I ought to mention that Pee Wee Reese is injured. He was injured last game. He'll be out this game and one more after that, so the lineup's changed a bit. All right, so we got Jim Gilliam leading off at second. Billy Cox bats second at third base. Batting third in center field, Duke Snyder. Batting fourth, Jackie Robinson in left. Batting fifth, catcher Roy Campanella. Batting sixth, first baseman Gil Hodges. Batting seventh, Carl Furillo in right field. And batting eighth and playing shortstop is Bobby Morgan. And on the Hill and batting ninth for the Dodgers is pitcher Russ Meyer. In 1953, he was 15-5 with a 4.57 ERA and 191 innings of work. Let's see, I don't have a pen. Need that. Okay. So now I'm ready. Meyer's ready. Jake Wood's in the box. Umpire says play ball, and we are underway. And that is a lead-off single for Jake Wood. Makes the turn, but holds at first base. So man on first with nobody out. And center fielder Bill Bruton. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Russ Meyer. And there's one away here in the top of the first. So Jake Wood on first with one out, and Al Kaline. And he hits a fly ball to left field. It's an X-check, and that's to Jackie Robinson, who is a 4. We roll a 6. And Robinson does not judge that ball well. It's going to be an E7. That's going to allow Wood to move to third base. K-line reaches on the E7. That's an error for the Dodgers. And I gotta look at this again. K-line's able to make it to second base on the misplay by Jackie Robinson. And it's second and third with one out. And Rocky Colavito, left fielder. That's a ground ball to shortstop. It's an X-check. And Bobby Morgan is a 3. Roll of 17. Morgan makes a nice play. And gotta look at that again. Okay, Morgan's only play, the runner's hold, of course, is to first base over to Gil Hodges for the second out. K-Line and Wood both hold. Nice play by Bobby Morgan. 2 away. And Norm Cash. It's another ground ball to shortstop Bobby Morgan and another X check. He is a 3 and rolling 11. And Morgan makes another nice play over to Gil Hodges. And Russ Meyer gets out of the jam with 2 plays by Morgan. So the Tigers threaten in the top of the first. And with a half inning in the books, it's the Tigers 0. And the Dodgers coming to bat. Russ Meyer gets his first fatigue point. Don Mossy takes the mound for the Tigers. And first batter for him will be Jim Gilliam. Gilliam pops this one up. It's going to stay in the infield. Jake Wood calls everyone else off and makes the catch for the first out. Here's third baseman Billy Cox. Cox hits a line drive right to first baseman Steve Boros, who makes a great play to retire Cox, and there are 2 away. 2 outs, nobody on for Duke Snider, center fielder for the Dodgers. And Snider gets that one by second baseman Jake Wood. And it goes into right field for a 2-out single. So Snider's on first base with 2 away. And left fielder Jackie Robinson. It's a ground ball to first baseman Norm Cash. It is an X check. We've had 3 of those already here in the first inning. Cash is a 3, and we roll a 2. And that is a single. It's going to allow Snider to move to second. Let's check Snider's running. He's a 1-16 with 2 outs. That makes him a 1-18. He's going to move to third, and he is safe at third. So there are runners on the corners with 2 outs for the Dodgers and Roy Campanella. Campanella hits a fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton. He's at the track, makes the catch for the third out. And after 1 inning of play, we are scoreless. Don Mossy gets his first fatigue point. And Myers out for the top of the second. Steve Boros is going to be the first batter he faces. Third baseman for the Tigers. And he draws the leadoff walk. So Boros is on first, nobody out, and catcher Dick Brown. Brown hits a ground ball to shortstop Bobby Morgan. Fires over to Jim Gilliam, who in turn gets it to Gil Hodges for a 6-4-3 double play. There are 2 outs, nobody on for Chico Hernandez. Have to say Bobby Morgan so far is having a good game, filling in for Pee Wee Reese. And Fernandez pops this one up near the third base line. Billy Cox is under that, and he makes the catch for the third out. And the Tigers go 1-2-3 in the top of the second. And after 1.5, we are scoreless. Russ Meyer gets his second fatigue point. Here in the bottom of the second, Mossy is going to face Gil Hodges, Carl Furillo, and Bobby Morgan. And that's a strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Don Mossy. He sends Hodges back to the dugout, and there's one away. Carl Furillo, right fielder for the Dodgers. And Furillo draws the one-out walk. Trots down to first base, so he's there. One out. And shortstop Bobby Morgan. It's been very active early in this game out in the field. And Mossy gets him to strike out. Chases a pitch to the outside, and there are two away. Second strikeout for Mossy. And I forgot to put the pitcher's hitting card in for Russ Meyer. So we'll do that right now. My apologies. So there's a man on first with 2 outs. Pitcher Russ Meyer. He hits a ground ball back to his counterpart, Don Mossy. He trots over towards first base, tosses it to Norm Cash for the 3rd out. And we got 2 in the books, and we are scoreless. So Mossy will get his second fatigue point. And in the top of the 3rd, Meyer's going to face his counterpart, and then it's back to the top of the order. So first, Don Mossy. And that's a strikeout. That is the first strikeout the second for Russ Meyer. And there's one away here in the top of the 3rd. Jake Wood, second baseman, he's 1 for 1, had a single, his first time at bat. This time he hits a fly ball to right fielder Carl Furillo. Near the track, he makes the catch for the 2nd out. 2 outs, nobody on for center fielder Bill Bruton. And that's another strikeout for Russ Meyer. And that's his 3rd. And the Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 3rd. And after 2.5, we are still scoreless. Russ Meyer gets his 3rd fatigue point. And it's back to the top of the order for the Dodgers here in the bottom of the 3rd, Jim Gilliam. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Chico Fernandez is the next check. Fernandez is a 3. And we roll a 3. And Fernandez can't get to that ground ball. It's got eyes and makes it into the outfield. So Gilliam leads off the bottom of the 3rd with a single. Here's Billy Cox. Let's take a look at Gilliam's stealing. He's an A. Let's see. Brown is a 2, or excuse me, he's a 3. And this early in the game, we're not going to hold him, or I should say the Tigers aren't going to hold him, but he is taking off. And he is thrown out, caught stealing. So Dick Brown fires down to shortstop Chico Fernandez, and they get Jim Gilliam. And there's one away here. Cox is still at bat. There's one away here in the bottom of the 3rd. And Cox hits a fly ball to right fielder Al Kaline. He's under that, makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 away. No one on the bases. Duke Snider. Snider hits a deep fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton. He's back to the track, to the wall, makes the catch for the 3rd out. And after 3 innings, we remain scoreless. Don Mossy will get his 3rd fatigue point. And Russ Meyer's out to face the Tigers in the top of the 5th. And the first person he's going to face is Al Kaline. He'll be followed by Colavito and Cash. And that's a leadoff single for Al Kaline. So the Tigers are in business. Here's Rocky Colavito. Left fielder Colavito is 0 for 1. This time he hits a ground ball back to pitcher Russ Meyer. And I don't know why I don't have this on here, but we rate all of the pitchers in this basic game at a 2. And it is an X check for Meyer. And we roll a 3. And Meyer makes an incredible play. Turns and fires back to Chico Fernandez. Or excuse me. Excuse me. Bobby Morgan, who sends a laser over to Gil Hodges for completion of the 1-6-3 double play. Bobby Morgan is having a great game in the field, for sure. And we're only in the top of the 4th inning. So there's 2 outs and nobody on for Norm Cash. And that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 3. Excuse me, number 4 for Russ Meyer, and that ends the inning. So with 3.5 in the books, we're still scoreless. Meyer gets his 4th fatigue point. As we go to the bottom of the 4th, Don Mossy, he's at 3. And first up for the Dodgers is Jackie Robinson. Robinson is 1 for 1. He singled his first time up. This time he hits a fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton. And there's 1 away. Backstop Roy Campanella. Campanella is 0 for 1. Hits a ground ball back to the pitcher, Mossy. It's an X check. He's a 2, rolls a 2. And he can't make a play on that ball that rolls into center field. And it's a 1-out single for Campanella. So he's on first with 1 away. And that's going to bring up Gil Hodges, who struck out his first time up. This time he draws a walk. So now there are runners on first and second as Campanella moves up. And there's 1 away. And right fielder Carl Furillo. It's a ground ball to second baseman Jake Wood. It is an X check. Wood is a 4. So let's see what happens here. He rolls a 19. And Wood makes a great play. It's going to be Wood to Fernandez to Cash for a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. So much for the Dodgers' attempt at a rally here in the 4th. And after 4 innings of play, we remain scoreless. Mossy gets his 4th fatigue point. And here in the top of the 5th, it's going to be Steve Boros, Dick Brown, and Chico Fernandez for the Tigers. And Boros draws the leadoff walk. Here's catcher Dick Brown. Brown is 0 for 1. Hitting to a double play his first time up. This time he hits a fly ball to center fielder Duke Snider. He's a 1. It is an X check. We've had quite a few of those in this game. And we got to roll again. And Snider makes a nice catch, showing off his wheels to make that out. Burrows holds at first base, and there's one away. So 1 out, man on first, Chico Fernandez. He's 0 for 1. This time he draws a walk. That's going to allow Steve Burrows to move up to second. So it's first and second with 1 out. And pitcher Don Mossy. Mossy swinging away. And Don Mossy hits a ground ball that has eyes and gets into the outfield. That's going to allow Steve Burrows to score and Chico Fernandez to move over to third. And the Tigers are on the board, 1-0. Russ Meyer gets his 5th fatigue point. So it's first and third with 1 out. And top of the order, Jake Wood. And that is a single. That's going to score Chico Fernandez. And it's now 2-0. Yeah, Mossy will move up to second base. So it's first and second with 1 out. And the Tigers have a 2-0 lead. Meyer gets his 6th fatigue point. Here's Bill Bruton. And Bruton draws the walk, and there's some activity in the Dodgers bullpen. There's some movement out there. And it looks like Billy Lowe's is warming up, or he's getting ready to warm up. So now bases are loaded with 1 out for Al Kaline. And the Dodgers are bringing the infield in. Kaline pops this one up. It's going to stay in the infield. Jim Gilliam's under that, and he makes the catch for the 2nd out. So 2 outs with the bases loaded now. And infield back to normal depth for Rocky Colavito. My. The 3rd walk of the inning for Russ Meyer, and he walks in a run. This pitcher Don Mossy crosses the plate, and it's now 3-0. And the 7th fatigue point for Meyer. Bases are still loaded. Billy Lowe's is almost ready. And here's Norm Cash. And this is a long, deep fly ball to center field. Duke Snider watches it go over his head. It is out of here, gone. A bases-clearing grand slam for Norm Cash. And the floodgates have opened. And the score is now 7-0. Just want to make sure of that. So Russ Meyer gets, he's at his 11 fatigue points, and Billy Lowe's is coming out here. My goodness. The bases are empty, and he's going to face Steve Burrows. Tigers have batted around. And we'll take a look at Billy Lowe's. I don't think I showed the stats for Russ Meyer, but at this point, it's pointless. All right, Billy Lowe's in 1953 was 14-8 with 14-8, excuse me, with a 4.53 ERA and 163 innings pitched. First batter he's going to be facing is Steve Boros, as the Tigers have batted around with this 7-run top of the 5th. All right. So, think I'm. Oh no, we're gonna leave Lowe, or Billy Lowe's rather. He's gonna bat in the 9th spot. With these 20-man rosters, it's tough to make too many changes. If the game was closer, I'd consider doing a double switch. But with the 7-run lead, we'll see what happens. Anyway, nobody on, 2 outs for Steve Boros. And he draws a lead, not a leadoff walk. It's his 2nd walk of the inning. My goodness. Those base on balls. So Boros is on first with 1 out. Or excuse me, 2 outs. And catcher Dick Brown. Brown pops this one up near the 3rd base line. And Billy Cox is under that. And finally, the Dodgers get out of this inning. But not before the Tigers score 7 runs. And after 4.5, they lead 7-0. Billy Lowe's did face 2/3 of the inning, so he will get a fatigue point. Another house rule I have for that: if he only faces or gets 1 out, or you know what I mean, has 1/3 of an inning pitch, I don't give him a fatigue point for that inning. But he gets one there, and strolling out to the mound with a 7-run lead here in the bottom of the 5th is Don Mossy. And Bobby Morgan's going to be the first batter for the Dodgers, and it's quiet here at Ebbets Field. This is a catcher's card X. Dick Brown's a 3, and we roll a 5. And Morgan pops that one up. It's a dribbler in front of the plate that Brown cannot handle, and he's safe at first on the E2. I believe that's the first error for the Tigers. It is. So Morgan's on base with nobody out. And it's pitcher Billy Lowe's, who is a number 1 hitting pitcher as well, so that card stays in the lineup for him. And he's just swinging away. Got a 4-6, and that is a pop-up, staying in the infield or near the edge of the grass. Jake Woods under that, makes the catch, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Jim Gilliam, second baseman. He's 1 for 2. This time he hits a ground ball back to the pitcher, Don Mossy. And his only play is over to first base. That's going to allow Bobby Morgan to move up to second on the 1-3 putout. And there are 2 away. So Morgan's on second base with 2 outs. And third baseman Billy Cox. Cox is 0 for 2. But not any longer. That is a 2-out single from Cox. Check Morgan's running. He's a 1-12 with 2 outs. That becomes a 14. What the heck? He's getting waved home, and he is gunned down. That's the way things have been going. Oof. For the Dodgers in this game. And we'll say that was 15, 5. That's going to be Al Kaline with the put out. 8-2. So the Dodgers' attempt at getting on the board and putting up a crooked number are thwarted by Al Kaline. And after 5 innings of play, the Tigers lead 7-0. Don Mossy gets his 5th fatigue point. Billy Lowe's is out to take this one on the chin for the team. And he's going to face the bottom of the order. And Chico Fernandez, Don Mossy, and then back to the top and Jake Wood. And Fernandez hits a ground ball to third baseman Billy Cox. Routine play over to Gil Hodges for the first out. That's going to bring up pitcher Don Mossy, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI single his last at bat. But this time he strikes out, and that's going to be the first strikeout for Billy Lowe's. There's 2 outs, nobody on, and back to the top of the order and Jake Wood. Wood hits a ground ball to second baseman Jim Gilliam. It's another X-check, and we've had a lot of these. Who rolls an 8. He's a 2. And he makes a nice play. That is Gilliam. From his knees, tosses over to Gil Hodges for the third out. And believe it or not, the Tigers go 1-2-3 in the top of the 6th. And after 5.5 innings of play, it's the Tigers 7 and the Dodgers nothing. I didn't mention it earlier, but this game is a rematch of sorts, all the way back to game 1 of this tournament when, the Dodgers were the initial Kings of the Hill by luck of the draw. The first team they played were the Tigers, and the Tigers won that game 12-7, I believe. So Mossy got his 5th fatigue point. And, excuse me. No, that's not correct. Yes, it is correct. But Lowe's, excuse me. Nope, he only has 1. See, I shouldn't stop in mid-sentence. Okay, so Lowe's has 1. And we're out here for the bottom of the 6th. So this was actually the 6th inning up here for the Tigers because of the batting around in the 5th. Anyway, first batter Mossy's going to face here in the bottom of the 6th is Duke Snider. And Snider's on base with a leadoff single. See if the Dodgers can get something going and try to cut into this lead. He's on first with nobody out, Jackie Robinson. That's a ground ball to second base, Jake Wood. And guess what? It's another X-check. Wood is a 4. We roll a 6. And that is a ball that he can't get to. So it's back-to-back singles for the Dodgers. Snider holds up at second base. And it's first and second with nobody out. And Roy Campanella, who is 1 for 2. He hits a ground ball to shortstop Chico Fernandez. And guess what? Fernandez is a 3, and that's a 15. And that is an error. Fernandez boots that. But it stays in the infield, and everyone's going to move up 1 base. So hold your horses. That's an E6. The bases are jacked with nobody out. And the Tigers get their second error. But they're all loaded for Gil Hodges, who could certainly make this a closer game with 1 swing. All right, infield's at normal depth. Man, that's a strikeout. Mossy gets him looking for the first out. And that is strikeout number 3 for Mossy. Bases are still loaded with 1 out now, and Carl Furillo, and he as well could make this a much closer game with 1 swing of the bat. And he will at that. He hits a seeing eye ball into the outfield. It's a single. That's going to allow Snyder and Robinson to score. And Campanella gets to third. So it's first and third with 1 out. And the Dodgers are on the board. So Mossy gets 2 more fatigue points. He's up to 7. It's first and third with 1 out. And shortstop Bobby Morgan, who is 0 for 2. Yes, 0 for 2. This time he hits a single. That's going to score Roy Campanella. And it's now 7-3. Furillo moves up to second base. He's going to hold there. So now it's first and second with 1 out. Mossy gets his 8th fatigue point. And it is pitcher Billy Lowe's. But at this point in the game, we're going to have to pinch hit for him. And it's going to be utility outfielder George Shuba. And the Dodgers are getting Johnny Padres warming up. So it's going to be Shuba batting for Lowe's. So this is bottom of the 6th. Pinch hit. Bottom of the 6th. Okay. So George Shuba is going to bat for Billy Lowe's. It's first and second with 1 out. And the score 7-3 in favor of the Tigers. And he draws a walk to load the bases up. My. The bases are loaded with 1 out. And Johnny Padres is almost ready. Or excuse me, not Johnny Padres. Johnny Padres is warming up for the Dodgers. Excuse me. Hold on a second. We're going to get some action here in the Tigers bullpen. It's going to be Paul Foytak. He's going to warm up for the Tigers. Just in case Mossy can't get out of this jam, I am going to hold this card in the lineup just as a place marker for the Dodgers. But we're back to the top of the order with the bases loaded and 1 out. And it's Jim Gilliam. He pops this one up, stays in the infield. Jake Woods underneath that makes the catch for the 2nd out. 2 away. Bases are still loaded. Third baseman Billy Cox. Cox is 1 for 3. This time he hits a fly ball to center field that Bill Bruton tracks down easily and makes the catch for the 3rd out. But not before the Dodgers score 3 runs and cut into that lead, and they now trail the Tigers 7-3. Let's see, Mossy. 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 fatigue points now. As we go to the top of the 7th. Billy Lowe's day was done when Shuba pinch hit for him. Johnny Padres was warming up, as I mentioned earlier. 1953, Padres was 9-4 with a 4.23 ERA, 115 innings pitch. And he's going to be facing Bill Bruton first here in the top of the 7th, with the Tigers leading 7-3. And Bruton hits a leadoff single to start the 7th inning. So Bruton's on first. And that's going to bring up Al Kaline. Kaline is 1 for 3. But he hits one that bounces around in the left field corner, and he's going to slide into third with a triple, which of course is scoring Bruton. And the Tigers get one of those runs back and now lead 8-3. I didn't write Padres down here, but he gets his first fatigue point. So Kaline's on third with nobody out. Rocky Colavito. Infield at normal depth. He hits a ground ball to third base. That's going to hold Kaline there. And it's a 5-3 put out. Billy Cox over to Gil Hodges, and there is one away. Still normal depth for the infield, and it's Norm Cash. Man on third, one out. Cash draws a walk, and now there are runners on the corners. Tigers lead 8-3 here in the top of the 7th. Here's Steve Boros. And he hits a ground ball to shortstop Bobby Morgan, who has been outstanding in the field today. And that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. That's Morgan to Gilliam to Hodges. But the Tigers pick up another run. And after 6.5, they lead 8-3. Padres gets his second fatigue point. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. Mossy's coming back out. He's got a 5-run lead, and he does have 2 fatigue points to use up. And he's going to face Snyder, Robinson, and Campanella. And Duke Snyder hits a fly ball to deep right field. Al Kaline is under that, on the track, makes the catch, and there's one away here in the bottom of the 7th. It's going to bring up Jackie Robinson. Robinson is 2 for 3. This time he hits a ground ball to second baseman Jake Wood, and Jake, guess what? Another X check. Wood is a 4, roll a 10. And Wood makes a nice play, robbing Robinson of a hit from his knees, throws over to first baseman Norm Cash, and there are 2 away here in the bottom of the 7th. Dodgers catcher Roy Campanella. He's 1 for 3. This time he hits a fly ball to right fielder Al Kaline, and once again, it's an X check. Kaline is a 1, and we roll a 4. And he makes a nice play near the foul line out there in right field to retire Campanella for the 3rd out. So there are 7 innings in the books, and the Tigers lead 8-3. Mossy gets his 10th fatigue point. Padres is back out. He has 2 here in the top of the 8th. And he's going to face Dick Brown first. That's a fly ball to left fielder Jackie Robinson. And guess what? Robinson is a 4. We roll a 5. And Jackie Robinson makes a nice play out there, retiring Brown, and there is one away. here in the top of the 8th. It's going to bring up Chico Fernandez, Tiger shortstop. And that's a strikeout. That is the first strikeout, I believe, for Padres. They're 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on for Don Mossy. And this one is a catcher's card X. Campanella's a 1. We roll a 14. And Mossy pops that one up into foul territory. Campanella makes the catch. And the Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 8th. And with 7.5 innings played, they lead 8-3. Padres gets his 3rd fatigue point. Mossy's coming back out just to try to save the bullpen. Because as of right now, it looks like this game is theirs, but anything can happen. So he's going to face Gil Hodges, Carl Furillo, and Bobby Morgan. And Hodges hits a leadoff single. Dodgers haven't given up yet, so he's on first with 1 out. Or excuse me, nobody out. And Carl Furillo. He lines one right at third baseman Steve Boros, who makes a nice play. Fires over to first base, but Hodges gets back. There's 1 out. Nice play by Steve Boros. Here's Bobby Morgan, who's had quite a few nice plays in this game out in the field. Filling in for Pee Wee Reese. That's a 5-6. This time he hits a fly ball to right fielder Al Kaline. Routine catch and the 2nd out. And this will be pitcher Johnny Padres. It's his first at bat. And he strikes out. That is strikeout number 4 for Don Mossy. And the Dodgers go quietly in the 8th. And the score remains 8-3 in favor of the Tigers. So Mossy hits 11 fatigue points. So anything after this, he's going to be fatigued. Padres is out. He has 3 here in the top of the 9th. And it's back to the top of the order for the Tigers and Jake Wood. And that is a leadoff double for Jake Wood. So he's on second with nobody out. And center fielder Bill Bruton. He pops this one up. It's going to stay in the infield. Jim Gilliam is under that, calls everyone else off, makes the catch, and there's 1 away. So man on first with 1 out, and Al Kaline. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Bobby Morgan. It's another X check. He's a 3. We roll a 5. And Morgan makes another nice play, I'll tell you. That is going to be a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. All started by Bobby Morgan. And with 8.5 in the books, it's the Tigers 8 and the Dodgers 3. Padres gets his 4th fatigue point. Mossy's coming back out, at least for right now. It is the top of the order here in the bottom of the 9th for the Dodgers. Jim Gilliam, Billy Cox, and Duke Snyder. It's a catcher's card X. Brown is a 3, and we roll a 10. And Gilliam hits a dribbler in front of the plate that Brown picks up and fires down to Norm Cash for the first out. 2-3 on the putout, and there's one away here in the top of the ninth. It's going to bring up Billy Cox, third baseman. He hits a ground ball to his counterpart, Steve Boros. Tosses over to Norm Cash for out number 2. And this is the last chance for the Dodgers, and it's Duke Snider. And this is not over yet because Snider hits a long, deep fly ball to center field that Bill Bruton watches go over his head. It's way up, out of here, gone. And a 2-out home run for Duke Snider. And it's now 8-4. Mossy is fatigued, but he's staying out there for right now. It's 2 outs, nobody on. Tigers lead 8-4, and Jackie Robinson. He hits a fly ball to center fielder Bill Bruton, and it is another X check. Bruton is a 2, and we roll an 8. And at the track, at the wall, Bruton jumps up and makes the catch to end the game. This one's in the books, folks. And we have a new king of the hill in the Detroit Tigers. They once again take down the Brooklyn Dodgers by a score of 8-4. 8-4. Real quick on the totals, as quick as I can be. The Tigers had 8 runs on seven hits. They had quite a few walks. They committed 2 errors. The Dodgers had 4 runs on ten hits. And they committed 1 error. Winning pitcher is Don Mossy, who went the distance. It wasn't pretty, but he, with an 8-run lead, or a 7-run lead at one point, it was enough. And the loss will go to Russ Meyer. So we have a new king of the hill in the 1961 Detroit Tigers. They'll take on the 1960 Pirates in Game 22. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for hanging out with me. And until next time, take care.